Well, back again, and it feels like it just feels like it hasn't stopped. And normally I don't do so many videos in a week, but one thing happened Monday evening leading into Tuesday. Then it was said on Tuesday while I was out doing my stuff and I was at the gym and I was listening to something, podcasts, Wrestling Observer and Between the Ropes, and then I saw this thing on the internet and it was based off what happened on Monday. If anyone watched Monday Night Raw, and I didn't see all of it, but apparently they were talking about all the world champions, and of course Triple H has to exercise his willy over everybody and be the more important champion than The Rock in the promos, and Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior, which I thought was quite hilarious. And then they talked about the world champions, and we saw Hulk Hogan, and then we saw Sting. And that was interesting to see. It's not like we haven't seen the company acknowledge Sting before, because they have. When they had the Vengeance pay-per-view in 2001, Champion versus Champion, if you watch the promos, you see Sting in the promos. But there was nothing ever of it. And we've had acknowledgements of Sting. If you watch Confidential, I'm sure if you find it on YouTube, Ric Flair in particular talks about Sting in this Confidential episode and talks about, basically it's like a sales pitch to get him in there. And it's been like every year there are these rumours about Sting and the WWE. Sting and the WWE. Will Sting ever go? Sting is close to signing. Sting might fight The Undertaker. Sting might do something with Triple H. Sting might show up during the invasion. Sting might show up during the NWO invasion. Sting might sign in 2004. Back in 1999 when he took that 98 when he took the hiatus, there was that rumour going around, but then I heard he was very close to quitting wrestling altogether back then. And then the last set of rumours was 2011, when there was those ominous Undertaker video packages where people started to think, hold on, these are a bit like the Sting packages, and this rumour of Sting versus Undertaker in Atlanta spread, and everybody was talking about it on YouTube, everywhere. And I'll tell you what, when that happened, that rumour happened, a lot of my friends who are not die-hard wrestling fans began to talk about it. So there's always been something there with Sting being in the WWE, the WWF. And lately it has come out that allegedly Sting has sent feelers out to the WWE about possibly going over to the WWE or doing something with them in the future. And since that rumour has come out, and Dave Meltzer's the one to blame for this, it's like, ooh, Pandora's box has opened. Everyone is doing videos on this. There's loads of blogs on this, and it wouldn't be right for me to not talk about this, considering when I was a child, one of the first wrestlers that I was ever a fan of, and one of the funniest things that got me into pro wrestling, and I've never told this story before, I was about 5 or 6 years old. I was like 5 actually at the time. The Argos catalogues were out, and I don't know if anyone in America who's watching this knows what the Argos catalogue is. It's a store, you go through a catalogue, anyways, you know what it is basically. And I remember flicking through, and I always used to flick through to the kids section, flicking through, and something got my attention, and it was these action figures. WCW I saw, and I was like, WCW? Might have been 5 or 6 at the time. I was just looking at it, and there was one wrestler, Lex Luger, if you remember those old figures, and he's just like that. There was an Arn Anderson figure, there was a Ric Flair figure, but the one that got my attention was this guy, this action figure with blonde hair and this face paint, muscular physique, standing like that, looking like a superhero. And I just never forget saying, Mum, I really want that figure, I really want that figure, I really want that figure. And lo and behold, it became, and one of my first wrestling figures was the Sting action wrestling figure. And granted, it's not in the condition it was now. You know, me, I don't take care of my things as well as I should. But here it is. You can see that the hand's gone, actually. I blame that on my friend's little brother. But there you go. And I remember getting this when I was 5, 6 years old in the Argos catalogue in Wood Green, London. And Sting was one of my favourites as a child, and I always used to champion Sting when there was the debate about WWF versus WCW, and I always used to talk about Sting. And I know I'm one of many people that used to talk about the days when there was the WWF and there was the WCW. And we would go back and forth, and the WWF fans would say, oh, WCW, we can't wrestle. WCW, who do they have? They don't have anybody. But when we would talk about Sting, it was like a universal agreement that he should be there. And now we fast forward to what we have been told lately and how this impacts on us and if he really is going. Because I believe every year he sends feelers out. I believe every year they send feelers out. Wrestlers send feelers out. And if there's something to it, it goes forward. Sting right now is with TNA. And I have... This is one of them videos where I need to have my Yasmin tea. It's one of those ones. And it's one of those videos. So let me get my mug of tea. Let me take a deep breath. Let me have a good sip. Bloody hell, almost burnt my tongue there. Sting in TNA wrestling, when let me go back, because this might be a real long video. WCW, the final Nitro, I'll never forget that day, and I can do a video on that, and I would love if we all kind of did some Google chat, and if anyone wants to do that, please let me know. I'd love to do that if you want to do this kind of video. But I'll never forget when WCW was bought out, the final match on Nitro was Sting and Ric Flair, and I actually believed that Sting was done. But then I heard that there was interest in Sting, and I remember when Vince did his thumbs up, thumbs down, survey, Sting got cheered for, as well as Buff Bagwell. And I was like, if Sting shows up, that truly would mean something. There were so many near misses in 2002, 2003. In the end, he did some stuff with TNA before the Spike TV deal, where he did a tag match with AJ Styles, a couple of tag matches with AJ Styles, and he was a special enforcer. Then there was rumours that he was going to sign again and return for close to full time in 2005, and he signed with TNA. And to his credit, his first year in TNA I actually did enjoy. He lost some of the weight, he looked motivated, he was in shape. Granted, he was not in his prime anymore, but I enjoyed his initial debut, return, when he got in there with, what was the guy's names? He was in a tag match with Christian against Jarrett and Monty Brown, which I thought was a fine main event. I liked some of the stuff that he did. He was kind of like a special attraction almost. And then they did the main event at Bound for Glory with him, and then they did some stuff with Abyss, which I wasn't that into. I think it had potential, but it kind of, died down. He'd done all the Bound for Glory main events, which some people liked and some people didn't. He had a feud with Samoa Joe, which had a lot of potential, but kind of was wasted when they did this main event Mafia storyline. They even turned him heel, which didn't really work, because I think he didn't want to be a heel, and you can see it if you watch the things there. He really wanted to be a babyface. He did the program of AJ Styles where he was passing the torch, but then not really. Then he did programs where he kind of turned heel again, but then you realise he's a face the entire time. And I kind of find that the specialness of Sting has worn off to such an extent, where now he is becoming just another guy in TNA. And I do like Sting, but I was getting frustrated with seeing him in TNA because I felt that he was overprotected to such a degree that it was becoming a nuisance. And I'll pinpoint always to when he wrestled Bobby Roode last year, and they were building to Bobby Roode versus James Storm. So really, Roode needs to win strongly as the heel. The eggs in the basket need to go in the Roode basket. He needs to be the strong heel going into lockdown, facing the mighty James Storm. Big clash of the Titans there. And they had Sting and Roode face each other, and the match was Sting mopping the floor with Roode and costing himself the win by doing the death drop and banging his head, and Roode getting the pinfall. And in a way, it didn't help. And everyone wants to go, oh, well, that's how heels should win. But no, not all the time. Watch Batman, the last Batman film. Did Bane win flukily in the first fight with Batman? He didn't. He destroyed him, he broke his back, he threw him away. It built up the rematch for the two of them. Heels can win strongly, and they need to win strongly a lot more than they do. Floyd Mayweather is another example. But back to the Sting topic. I've always felt now that Sting has hit a certain point in TNA that he's not going to get any further. He's done enough in TNA, he's spread the TNA name enough, he's done everything pretty much that you can do, and I think that TNA have overused him to the point where he is actually, and I said it before, just one more person on the roster. Now, the rumours of him going to the WWE now, what do I think about it? Am I interested? I'm going to tell you this. I have not been interested in anything that Sting has done in TNA this year so far. I'm aware that he's redoing the Main Event Mafia, I believe, with Magnus, Samoa Joe, and Quinton Rampage Jackson and Kurt Angle. And I don't mind that. And if they do the angle where Sting basically christens or passes the torch or endorses Magnus, a guy who has a great future, to him, and then eventually exits, I think that would be a great way for him to leave. I'm so bored of this aces and eights crap, to be honest with you. I like Bully Ray, but anyways, if Sting passes the torch to Magnus, gives him the rub, lets Magnus be the charge guy, and Magnus ends up being the next big thing, the next Sting, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Now, Sting going to the WWE, does that interest me? It does. And I know a lot of people who want to see Sting in the WWE. But one guy, when you think about it, during this whole wrestling, the wrestling in the 90s, all the big stars, all the big names, all the leading characters that were made, nearly all of them at some point ended up in the WWF, WWE, except one, Sting. And that is why it's special. And in a way, it could remain special if he never went there, but I think fans really want to see him there. And I know for a fact, when I come back and I go out later tonight or whatever, I'm going to be hearing about it. So I know that there is something there and people want to see him there. Now, the negatives to it are that Sting is not in his prime anymore, physically or athletically or as a performer. He's not, what he was back in the early 90s, because I always thought he gave up around 97, 98. He was on holiday most of the time. But he's not in his prime anymore. But here's the thing. We've seen this new way of bringing in guys stars like The Rock and Chris Jericho and Brock Lesnar and Triple H and Undertaker. They are guys that have these part-time deals where they come in for a certain amount of time and then they're cycled out and then they're brought back in again and then they're cycled out and then they're brought back in again and they're cycled out. And if they use Sting in that way, I actually think that would be and I think RVD's got a similar deal, by the way. I think that could be a very attractive and lucrative way of getting Sting to sign with the company. And from what I understand, one of the other differing factors is that the person that would probably be doing the negotiating from the WWE standpoint would be Triple H. And while I've said the things I have said about that man, while I view him as the Lady Macbeth of WWE, and you have to think about what I'm getting at when I say that, while I'm not too keen on him, and I think he's overused and buries talent and, all the creative nonsense. The thing that he has over Vince McMahon is that he has people skills, and we know that because the one thing that we thought was impossible, Bruno Sammartino signing to the WWE Hall of Fame, happened, and Hunter was the guy that brokered the deal. And it looks like Hunter's going to be the guy that brokers the deal with Sting. And in a way, give him credit for giving fans something that they want to see. Now, how will Sting be used if he goes to the WWE? What do we want to see him in? Everyone wants to see Sting and The Undertaker. That's the match fans want to see, I believe, as of 2011, but now it's 2013. So I ask people as I do this video, and while I waffle, is that a match you want to see? Do you want to see Sting versus The Undertaker? Do you want to see Sting and CM Punk? Do you want to see Sting and The Rock? Do you want to see Sting and Brock Lesnar? Do you want to see Sting and Kane? Do you want to see Sting team with The Undertaker and Kane to face The Shield? Do you want to see Sting just come in and do an appearance, shake some hands, do the Hall of Fame and go? How is he going to be used? How do you want him to be used? How do you want him to be seen? As WrestleMania season starts to come very soon, they've got to start planning things, and already the rumours are running rampant that they're going to do Rock versus Brock Lesnar or Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. and there's some other speculation about other matches that they want to do, and perhaps Sting is a part of those plans. Think about it. Hall of Fame induction, WrestleMania appearance. That's pretty big. Anyways, I'm getting really tired and really dried out and really, wow, I've done 3 videos in the space of about 24 hours. Guys, let me know what you think. Tell me what you think. Are we eventually going to see this man here? Well, not the action figure, but the real Sting. Are we going to see Sting in the WWE? Is it finally going to happen after all of these years? It's almost like the Fedor Emelianenko UFC rumours that went around for years and years. Is he coming? 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 No, he's not. Is this going to happen though with the WWE and Sting? Are we going to see Sting in the WWE, and how is he going to be used? If he's used on a part-time basis, perhaps used in a way where he has the dream matches and elevates someone, he could be highly effective. If he's just used all the time or used wrongly, he's going to be ineffective. Are we going to see this rumoured Sting DVD that we've been hearing about for years that WWE might produce? Who knows? Let me know what you think, but just think about this. The one guy, the one star that was never created by Vince McMahon, finally in the WWE. Pretty cool, isn't it? Let's just hope it doesn't go down the same route as WCW. The WCW invasion. Let's hope it doesn't go down the Goldberg route. Let's hope it doesn't go down the route of other guys who've come from other promotions where Vince has made them look like fools. Guys, I'm going to stop. You let me know what you think. I do MMA videos, I do wrestling videos, I do boxing videos, I do rants, I do everything about things that we all love to talk about. Let me know what you think. Everyone out there, comment, like, share, spread the wealth, spread the love. Thank you all of you. I'm out of here. Take care. Peace.